In the next few slides, we're going to be looking at the business sales and related transactions, and we will be using debit and credit. This is also called T account. It can be recorded in a couple of ways, so we can either use debit and credit as so, different accounts, and if you remember, I mentioned that debit should balance credit, and so in this case we have balancing debit to credit. And so when a seller gets a payment in cash for the goods, we remember we have to increase our cash and we have to increase our sale. Other way to record the same T account would be through just a simple journal. Do you remember I mentioned about manual journals? So this is how the journal would look like. You have again debit and credit, just a little bit different way of recording it. And we have cash on one side as a debit and sales on another side as credit. Now, if you think about it, we had word dealer, right? Cash, if you remember, cash is our asset. If we increase an asset, DA, we put it as debit, and that's why it's on debit side. So we increase our cash account because we received it. And then we have S stands also for revenue. So R is credit. And both balance off. If the business sale is with delay, so we have 30 days or 14 days, we use extra account called receivables account. And when we sell, we put them on receivables account. Receivables account is the money owed to us as a business. And so again, instead of cash, we'll put them on receivables. And once we receive money onto account, we will remove it from receivables by crediting receivable account and putting them onto cash account by debiting our cash account. Similar to this, debit cash, credit sale. But instead of cash account, we temporarily put them onto receivables account until we get the payment. What if we sell items? So we tell them, if you would pay us within, say, 14 days, we'll give you discount. As you recall, we had receivables accounts, we increased, sales account is increased, so credit, and in case of discount, we will use nominal account called discount account. So we have discount account increase, we have receivables account decrease, and by this reducing money owed to us by the customer, right? Let's have a look more in practice. So first is very clear. It's the same. We sold products for £1,000. We put them onto receivables until we receive the payment. We recorded the sale. So we made more sales, right? So we increased the sale. Then we said, okay, if you pay within 14 days, we'll give you a discount of £50. Now what happens if the clients actually pay to us? We need to record the receipt of the cash, but of course we received only £9.50 because we promised to give a discount. Therefore, we use this discount allowed nominal account to park this £50 discount. And then we have to clear receivables. Remember, we have to always balance. So if we have to remove this 1,000, we have to credit 1,000, and a balance would be 2,000 from both sides. It has to balance. If it doesn't balance, we need to find where is the mistake. Let's have a look at the business sale where we have a damaged item. So we have sale account decrease and receivable account decrease. Seller issues a credit note as an official document to show the reduction and the refund due to the customer. I'll put a link for the credit note It's a document which we have to send to our customer for damaged goods. But now let's have a look at the journal. So again, starting from the same transaction, receivables, we are waiting for payment, and then we find out that there is actually return of the goods because of the broken item. So we have to reduce our receivables because we're not going to get 1,000, we're going to get £80 less because of the broken item, right? We have to park this £80 on the other side to balance it off on sales returns for this damaged item. And when we receive actually cash paid from the customer, of course there would be £80 less. We clear our receivables of 920. At that time it will be already 920. 1,000 less 80, 920. And in the end, the accounts debit and credit balance again. Before we move on to another important business transactions, please have a look at this slide. And also I suggest you to print this slide for your information, because it's very important to check what is on the sales invoice or what is on purchase invoice for that matter. First of all, each invoice number, and as you can see, this is the first item on this list, has to be unique. Every business has their own way to record, there's own references, it doesn't matter how, but it has to be sequential, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on, and it has to be unique. So quite often companies use the year in the reference or any other identification, but it has to be unique. You cannot repeat the same number for the same client, or it has to be unique across the whole accounting system. Amongst other items, we should have date of invoice. This is really important because from date of invoice, you may calculate when then the customer needs to pay. Due date, according to payment terms and a contract between you and the customer. Customer name, address, any contact details, description of the goods or services you provided, and preferably if you put in quantity in units. Let's say you sold apples, 1 kilo, price per unit, price per kilo. And second line would be cucumbers per kilo, you sold 3 kilos, and so on and so forth. Price per unit in local currency, any discounts that you applied, total for the invoice overall on the bottom of the document. Now this one is related to non-VAT registered businesses. And if you are VAT registered business, you have a little bit more information, which we will check at the end of this course.